Good morning, everyone. I see there's some folks are still waking up, but it looks like the warriors are here in the room, and it's good to see you all bright and early. I'm Les Williams. I'm a senior infrastructure business developer at Amazon, and I'm a member of the program committee. I hope you've enjoyed your sessions and you made it here. You found your mechanisms to get here today. For me, over the last 3 days, I discovered the yoga affinity group, and I've been doing it every morning to get myself fired up to be here. And I think it's going to be a recurring theme throughout all the NANOG. So if you are not aware of the affinity groups, find your group and join. It can help you take you through NANOG. A few things to remember before we begin the session. We have a chat window that is available to all attendees, both virtual and in person, for general conversation with other attendees. If you have questions for the speakers, please use the dedicated Q&A tab of that chat box or step up to one of the floor mics. Remember, please introduce yourself, state your name and your company as you do that. If you need assistance with any technical issues, use the Help tab. Presentation slide decks are also available in the meeting agenda, so you can access it now, follow along, or later on. Today with me remotely moderating would be Kit Gary, so if you need help with the microphones out on the floor, Kit will be able to help you. With that said, now I do have the privilege to introduce to you Edward Mcnair, Ron Grant, and Chris Woodfield. They are presenting the NANOG community meeting this morning. Edward, we all know, is the executive director of NANOG, and is joining us today from Portland. Ron Grant is a member of the mentorship committee and joins us from Vancouver. And Chris is the secretary of the NANOG program committee, who didn't have to travel too far because he lives right here in Seattle. Welcome, Edward, Ron, and Chris, or should I say Ed? Welcome.
Good morning, everyone. I hope that you guys have had an enjoyable experience here at NANOG. I also hope that none of you have too much of a hangover from last night. These things happen. Sometimes you can have a little bit too much fun, but hopefully you guys have been enjoying yourself here. So I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the things which are kind of going on within the NANOG community. This is an opportunity we take each NANOG event to kind of bring you up to speed of what's happening kind of internally in the organization and what we're doing to kind of help better serve our community. So the first thing I want to talk about is development updates, anything that we have going on in the development space and how that can impact you. So we've made a pretty major overhaul of the UI of our website, and you're going to continue to see things kind of roll out. On Friday of this week, late in the evening, we're going to start releasing some updates to the kind of back end of our systems to make things a little more efficient. And hopefully with the things we're doing, you see it speed up about 50% on using our website with some of the things we're doing in optimization. But in terms of our UI, we're again trying to make it much more accessible for our community to work better kind of in a mobile space. NANOG is about community, and in that push for community, we do a lot within our org to kind of make that happen. Here's just our updated UI in terms of navigation and finding things in the menu system. We've now have a featured story area where we try to highlight the stories about individuals within our community in a sense to kind of keep you in touch. If any of you have a unique story that you'd like to share or any events that are happening that you think our community should be aware of, please reach out to us. You can go to our website. There's a button up at the top that says feedback. If you've got a story, something you would share, please just kind of reach out and let us know. But again, the purpose of this is to really highlight the voices and the individuals that make up the NANOG community. We've also made some updates in terms of the registration area on our website. We try to consolidate things and make content more accessible. You'll notice that both on the home page and here on this registration page, we've got what we call touts, which are sitting off onto the right-hand side. It gives us the ability to be able to change that content to better serve you, to better alert you about things that are happening related to the event. Also, we're familiar with when you come to the registration page where it says register now. Now what you'll see when you are logged in, it will give you the opportunity that says you're registered for this event and the ability to modify your registration or to buy additional passes. Again, these are all things to try to make things much more accessible, and we continue to get your feedback, we incorporate that, and we find ways to better serve our community with the tools that we have. The community forum. We launched the community forum, I think it was about 1.5 years ago, and it's been kind of in a beta release. This runs on Discourse. It has the ability to have different kinds of areas and things that you can promote, and places where people within our community can have their own individual voices and kind of talk about things which are kind of imperative to them and important to them. So the community forum is now in 1.0 release, as pulled away from just its beta release. You now can log in a variety of ways. Before you could only log in using your NANOG account. Now you can log in using Google, LinkedIn, or you can also create an account directly on there. You can also access it through a browser, or you can do it as a mailing list, just like you're familiar with the NANOG mailing list. If you have posts that are kind of in the forum or anywhere, they're automatically linked based upon your email address. So it keeps the thread with anything that exists on the mailing list as it is. There's a read-only variant of the current mailing list there. So any posts that are sent to the mailing list are mirrored. It's one way you can't interact directly in terms of editing or posting, but you can at least search through the mailing list and find information. And it's an amazing tool for searching and finding things in the mailing list. And if you, in addition, there are focused technology forums, or affinity groups, and more. If there's anything that you see missing that you'd like to have a topic area to discuss, just let us know, webmaster@nanog.org, and we can create forums specifically to particular groups that are interested in reforming themselves. So I want to take a moment to give a few basics about discourse and how it works and how it functions. So if anyone want to step in the water and play around a little bit, especially if you're interested in coming from the standpoint of saying, yeah, I'm interested in seeing how discourse function. I like my mailing list, and I'm not interested in this kind of fancy schmancy web GUI. That being the case, you can tailor and use discourse in the same way that you're using the current mailing list. So again, as I mentioned, when you come to the website and you click the login button, you'll be presented with this. And here are the various ways that you can get in. Again, I mentioned Google. Your NANOG account will allow you to get in, and you can use LinkedIn. And then also, if you want, you can, if you have an account directly that you set up, you can either create an account here, or you can log in with your existing account information. So now, once you're logged in into the system, and this is where I want to talk about some of the preferences that you have in Discourse that you might want to tweak to give you the best experience. So up in the right-hand corner, you would see your little icon for your user menu. Clicking on that, you can then choose preferences. And then from preferences, you can jump in and you can say, okay, how do I want Discourse to interact with me from the standpoint of mailing communication? So once you're in the preferences, you then click on emails. And then from emails, you would say, okay, email me when I am sent a personal message. Do you want that to happen always, sometimes, once a week? How do you want that schedule to happen? Email me when I'm quoted. How often you want those emails to come? You could have it to where I just want a weekly summary of what's happened. And your active summary. So in addition to emails, you can say, how do I want to be notified? Do I want to be notified when topics are created within my area that I'm interested? Do I want this every 2 days? Do I want it every day? Do I want it as soon as it happens? So you've got a lot of control in how you can set up your preferences on how you're communicated through Discourse. And then there's categories. It's like, what categories do I want to track? So in that first option, if you were to click down, you would see all of the categories that are available in Discourse and say, which are the ones that I am interested in being notified and communicated on? So jumping into an individual forum, we've set this up so on every forum that takes place, there's an email account associated with it. And again, once you've got your email preferences set up, you can interact with Discourse in the same way you would do Mailman. You can email out to that list. It'll post. If someone makes a post there, you'll get emailed back. So again, the functionality will happen the same way. But you also have the ability to interact it from directly on the website as a forum. Also at each forum area, there's a little bell icon. If you're clicking on that bell icon, will automatically subscribe you to that list. You can also drill down and subscribe on the level of a topic. So in this case, if you look on the far right-hand side, looking all the way down, it'll say 13 days ago. This is tracking this post, how active it's been. So that post was created on May 15th, and how much communication stuff has happened on that. So again, you can tag a particular posting and say, hey, I want to keep track of that. Now in this little area you can see, and I'll kind of get in a little closer, within Discourse, it tracks what's actually happening in that forum. Who are the biggest posters? How many replies it took place happened there? When you're on there directly, you can post directly in line. And also, if you're asking a question to the forum, you have, let's say I posted on the forum and I'm asking a question. Once I get an answer to that question, because I'm the author, I can say, hey, this is the answer, this is the solution. And it'll pop that solution right up under the original posting itself. So if I come there, someone else comes there in the future, they're looking at that posting, Discourse will say, hey, you don't need to pop through this whole thread. The answer is right here underneath the original question itself. So that's Discourse. If you guys have any more questions about that, feel free to ask at any time. So let's talk a little bit about some of the outreach events that have happened since we've last met. So Albuquerque NOG had their first NOG event. And at that NOG event, NANOG participated, Aaron participated as well. It was the inaugural event for the ABQ NOG. The attendees ranged from local internet providers, students, and representatives for some of the local indigenous tribes. As I mentioned before, NANOG and both Aaron were there and participated. For NANOG, we also streamed the meeting live from our website, so they didn't have the ability to do so. So we provided that so that they could use that and distribute it and allow people from within their community who couldn't attend the meeting to be able to connect and enjoy it remotely. It was a great opportunity to kind of listen to some of the things that are going on. There were some great presentations, and it was really good to see another NOG come online within the region. And it was also a great opportunity to kind of get to talk to some of the indigenous tribes and see some of the challenges that they face and maybe possible ways that our community could be supportive and participate. ShyNOG 11, the Chicago NOG had their 11th meeting. It was the first, ShyNOG was the first local NOG in the United States. It was the 11th, again, meeting that they had. Chicago's based in the Midwest. Their meeting was May 11th. They had 102 attendees, 10 vendor-neutral presentations. The highlights were the keynote highlighting the future of quantum optical networking research in the Chicago area. And if you want to know more about that, they've got a YouTube video. This slide deck will be available. You can click on that and kind of see what took place in that particular conference. So our annual report is out. It's on our website. You can download it. The annual report goes over kind of all the pertinent information, stats and figures of what happened with NANOG over the course of the past year. Also includes our finances, and anything that you want to know about the org is encapsulated in that annual report. Conference badges. As some of you who've been in the members meeting, you heard and been popped out that NANOG the board is exploring making QR codes on badges available. Your privacy is our highest concern, and if we do choose to go down this path, the first thing that you need to know is that anyone would be able to opt out of the process. If you don't want a QR code, if you don't want to share that information, when you go through the registration part, you would say, no, I do not wish my contact information to be on a QR code on my badge. The QR codes, if we do so, will be small enough that you can't just from a distance take a picture and scan someone's QR code. You'd have to get up close and personal to be able to do so. We're also considering whether maybe we should put the QR code on one side of the badge so you'd actually intentionally have to flip it over. Again, like I said, your privacy is our highest concern. And also, in going down this route, you'd also have the option to say, what information do you wish to be on your QR code? So again, privacy, control are all a part. Again, we want to make sure our customers have our community, and to make sure that you're safe and your privacy is protected. But again, above all else, you would always have the option to opt out. The board is seeking feedback on this. Believe me, those emails have been rolling in. I think that last time I checked my box, there's probably 20 emails in there related to this. We are listening. Your opinions do matter. And again, we are a community-driven organization, and we kind of go by what our community is wanting and looking for. All right. Up next, we have Ron Gratt, who will give you an update on mentorship.
Green button, okay. Thanks, Ed. My name is Ron Grant. I'm a network engineer from Consulting Network Engineer in Vancouver, BC. I have to say the BC part when I'm in Washington, because people say, which Vancouver are you talking about? And so everywhere else in the world, it's, you know. So the mentorship committee was formed a couple of years ago and got off to, you know, we really had a lot of meetings about how this program should be developed. We're basically started from the ground up, and so we couldn't just take something off the shelf and say, there you go, there's a mentorship committee. So, and what we basically have come up with is, and that is that we rolled out last year, I believe, at the June meeting at NANOG 85 in Montreal, was a program that allows you to submit and there's a link at the bottom of that screen there, submit a form to become either a mentor or a mentee. And we, as a committee, get together, at committee meetings, and we, excuse me, and we discuss, and we basically act as matchmakers for these people, rather than there's not an automatic algorithm that's going to put you together with a left-handed, network engineer from Chicago. So it's just us doing it, and we've had quite a number of successes so far, including a number of successful mentor-mentor pairs. And so what I'd like to do is just talk about what this program means to you guys, because it isn't as what people understand as an education opportunity. It isn't like you're not signing up with a professor who's going to teach you about BGP or RPKI and those are the standard examples. But it's more about somebody who's going to teach you how to interact at NANOG, how to reach your hand out, how to get ahead in your career. A lot of the people that we have signed up as mentors are working for companies that have corporate mentorship programs, and like at the big hardware vendors and software guys. They're very common for these Fortune 5, as you can see, the Fortune 500 companies all have these programs in place. And we're trying to bring this out to the industry at large, so that the people who are not necessarily working at the big organizations can have that benefit. So the relationships are virtual. So we try to set you up with somebody. We introduce you an email, and we reach out, and then we expect the mentee to be the driver of the relationship. Because ultimately the mentee is the person who's in theory getting the most out of it. Though I've found, in fact, that the mentors seem to get the most fun out of it. They have the most pleasure from the experience. So I would definitely say, if you're in this room, you're probably an enthusiastic member of the network community. And you should consider being a mentor if you feel that you have those skills, and a mentee if not. So one other thing is that we have forms for submission. They're a little out of date, so we reach out and we've got some follow-up questions. We're trying to match people according to time zones and languages, and we're trying to get more details from people. about what they're looking for in a mentor or a mentee. And so sometimes we don't get a response back, and we're wondering if there's possibly some spam filters in place because we're not coming to you, we're not responding to you. We've responded to everybody, but not everybody has responded back to us. And so if you have submitted to the program and you haven't heard anything from us, please email us at mentorship-committee@nanog.org, just like it sounds, and because we may have hit your spam filter. So mentorships, I don't know how to explain this any better than saying that when I was a chef, and I did this before network engineering was even a thing, I was a chef, and I was always told in that career that in order to learn something, you have to teach 3 other people how to do that thing. So, and then that's when you know it. Mentorship is I do believe the mentors get the most out of it, but the mentees, we come along for the ride. So that's it for the mentorship committee. Thanks very much, Ed.
Thank you, Ron. Thank you, Ron. So before I hand things over to Chris to talk about things related to the PC, I want to take a moment and talk about our ONSBUD program. The program is really designed to help for integration, for a sense of feeling connected within our community. There's no way that you're going to have a large group of people like this coming to an event, 900 plus people, without some form of conflict or another. It's just inevitable, and that is why to support our community, we have introduced the ONSBUD program. It works. Like with anything, if you go through a process, it will work. There are sometimes areas of conflict that happen, maybe misinterpretive things, maybe someone has actually done something that really is violating someone's space, their privacy, etc. The ONSBUD program is there as a community resource. It's a community resource that works, and we let the process work. If there's any type of conflict that happens here, as executive director, I'm notified about it right away. And for me, I trust in the process. I trust in the process that the ONSBUDs are professionals. They know what they're doing. They know how to resolve and mitigate conflict. And if something is truly extraordinary, they'll bring it to my attention and they'll guide me on how that I should interact as the executive director. So again, I would encourage you, interview if you in any ways find a situation occurs where you feel uncomfortable, where you maybe heard something that was said that makes you feel uncomfortable. Again, I would encourage you to reach out to the ONSBUD. And again, I want to affirm that this process does work, that they are here to support our community and to make our community grow and become more inclusive as well. So again, the process is there for the benefit of our community. If you do find yourself in conflict of any kind, go through the ONSBUD and let the process work. So with that being said, I will then turn things over to Chris, and he will share all good things about the PC.
Hello, I'm Chris Woodfield, NANOG PC Secretary. I've been on the NANOG program committee for quite a number of years now, and it's been an interesting ride for sure. But wanted to get up here and talk a little bit about how we program the meeting, how we pick the content, how we sequence it, and what sort of things we like to see, what we don't like to see, et cetera, et cetera. All right, so we'll start with the life cycle of the talk. So these dates are relevant to the next NANOG in San Diego for NANOG 89. June 26 is when we first send out reminders for the call for presentations. Quick note here, we are never not accepting talk proposals. It is a rolling acceptance. We will always accept a proposal. When you submit a proposal, you can specify which NANOG you are looking to give this presentation at. if you put in a presentation, it does not get slotted into the next meeting. If you know you can't attend the next one, but might be able to attend the one in February, feel free to pick NANOG 90 for your when you submit your abstract and your abstract and your request. So we send out reminders in June and July. August 27th is when we expect all of our proposals to have draft presentation slides. A question we get often is, what do you mean by draft slides? The answer could be subjective, but generally what I like to see when I'm looking at reviewing a talk is substantially content complete. Formatting can still need some work. Maybe you've got some graphics that still need to be put in, but there should be enough there to make sure that we know what the talk, the content of the talk and the general flow and the type of story you're trying to tell with your presentation. September 11th is when we are generally have our main presentations picked. We publish a list of topics. This won't be the complete agenda, but this will be a list of what we have, the talks that we have reviewed and decided that we definitely want to be in the program. A couple weeks after that, September 25th is when we publish the agenda. So this is the point where the program is locked in. We've accepted all the talks that we're going to accept. Occasionally there's some jiggling that happens afterwards, but that's rare. So definitely aim to have everything that we need and well ahead of that date. October 9th, 1 week before the meeting, is when the final slides are due. These should be the slides in the format that you're expecting to present them at the meeting, and be locked in and ready to go. On the 15th, and is that Sunday or Monday? Is October 15th Sunday or Monday? Sunday, okay. Is when we open up lightning talk submissions, and these are short talks that we accept proposals for and review and put up during the meeting. So if you have a quick idea, something that maybe isn't quite hashed out, not really relevant for not really ready for a full on NANOG talk, feel free to submit it as a lightning talk. So a little bit behind the board of how we do things on the program committee side. We've actually got some pretty well developed tools at our disposal. So thanks to Edward for pushing the development along here for this. This is basically what our dashboard looks like for submitting talks, reviewing them, voting on them, and leaving feedback. Both internal comments and feedback to the proposal authors. Right now for NANOG 89, we're pretty well on our way. We've got 22 proposals submitted already in the hopper. Pending means that we've received an abstract, but we haven't gotten slides yet. Submitted means that we've received slides. The content shepherd, the talk shepherd has done initial review and has deemed it ready for the rest of the PC to review and comment on it. 4 talks we have already accepted. 5? 5? Oh, okay. Yes, 5. So we now have 5, as of an hour ago, we now have 5 accepted. And these are talks that we've already, and most of these are talks that, a lot of them are talks that we've already accepted. We may have accepted for this meeting, but the author couldn't make it, or requested that we move it to the next meeting. And then one we just talked about an hour ago and decided to accept. So yeah, we're pretty much well on our way. So if you have an idea, if you have a talk, please get these in. The sooner the better, because the program does fill up a lot faster than a lot of us think. So the 4 talks we were already accepted as of before 1 hour ago. The list here, ASPA-based BGP-AS path verification, which is RPKI-based, complex reality of protecting BGP, quantifying the impact of RPKI validation in ISPs and IXPs, RPKI adoption and routing security in North America. I'm sensing a theme here. And then we have a tutorial already accepted in the program, bringing true load balancing on your on-premises Kubernetes cluster. And as of an hour ago, we will be bringing back NANOG Jeopardy. So thank you, Charles. Thank you, Charles. If you're watching, this is another new handy tool that that's been developed by NANOG staff for us to use. We have a graphical agenda builder now. So when we are ready to start building out the agenda, we have a drag and drop tool that we can use to slot in the talks and the time slots. We're looking to get another update that will allow us to do parallel talks in multiple rooms more easily. Right now, that's probably the biggest issue that we deal with is this. But this is miles better than what we had one meeting ago. If you are interested in joining the program committee, know that we've got a pretty well developed tool set and process set. It's not going to be a Wild West. You'll be among friends. You'll be we've got a lot of knowledge and process, and you should be able to get going pretty quickly. So after you submit your talk, what happens? The first thing that will happen is that you'll be assigned 2 PC members will be assigned to your talk. The first PC member that's assigned to your talk is going to be a shepherd. The shepherd is your main point of contact on the program committee, your main interface with us. They will take a look at your abstract and the first revision of your slides, look over them, make sure that there's nothing that needs to be changed before we want to submit it for voting for the rest of the committee. So first round of feedback, and a lot of things that'll come up here is like the length of the talk. How many slides do you have? What time slot are you asking for? Does that seem like a reasonable fit, or do you have too much content or not enough? A lot of feedback that comes along these lines is your how vendor neutral is your talk. One thing we place a really large importance on the program committee is that we are a technology conference, not a vendor conference. So we very much look to see vendor neutral technologies, best practices, rather than product presentations. And then once the shepherd has done initial review, maybe a couple rounds of feedback, they will move the talk to submitted and then open up to the rest of the program committee for feedback and voting. You will also be assigned a content reviewer. The content reviewer will come in later in the process. So after your talk is accepted, the content reviewer is your copy editor. The content reviewer is going to look for typos, formatting, adherence to NANOG standards, and more of a technical review more than an editorial review of your talk. If you are interested in joining the PC, nominations open up every February. We are all volunteers. We are appointed by the board and self-governing. We have a number of subcommittees that made up of various program committee members. There's a subcommittee for recruiting and shepherding keynotes, tutorials and tracks, lightning talks, moderators. All of the moderators for this talk are PC members. So we have a subcommittee made up of the people who aren't afraid to get up on stage and introduce speakers. We have a data analysis subcommittee, which helps us a lot with looking at trends, what sort of talks are getting the most, are in most demand, are getting the best feedback, which ones aren't, what sort of talks we want to try to focus on recruiting for next time. And then the hackathon, which is the Sunday hackathon event, that is managed by the program committee as well. If you are interested in helping out, please come talk to us. We program committee members serve for 2-year terms, and I believe we're term limited to 2 consecutive terms. It's not an absolute. You can step off the committee for a year and then come back if you would like to. So anyway, thank you very much, and we hope you'll join us in building the internet to tomorrow. Thank you. Any questions for any of us?
Yeah, anyone to the mic has any questions at all for us? We're kind of stepping into our Q&A portion. And also, if there's anyone online, question. Go ahead, Tony.
Just a quick question. Tony Tauber from Comcast. Are the tools, I was on the program committee a long time ago, and we had some tools then. It looks like they're vastly improved. It looks great. Are they open source by any chance for other people to make use of, or is there some other way?
Right now, the tools are internal to NANOG. They're tools that we have developed. The board and I are exploring possibilities of opening up our tool set to other organizations. So it is something that we are aware of. We've been asked.
Okay.
We're exploring that process.
That's great. Yeah, I guess whether or not open source, but
yeah,
still available.
Absolutely.
We have an online question from Vicky Risk. Regarding the QR codes, just print the QR codes and have a stack of stickers that attendees can use to obscure the QR code. If they don't want to share it, it seems like the simplest solution.
Okay. Yeah, we do have, typically at our registration, we have all kinds of kind of stickers which are available, so I'm sure that won't be a problem at all. Oh, Randy Bush.
Randy Bush, IIJ and Arcus. The online agenda that I'm using right now, I would really like it if it was time zone adjustable because I'm often remote.
It should be time zone adjustable if it's I just go away. It should be time zone adjustable. And I think that's me. I put my hand behind my back where the little mic is, and I was probably killing it. It should be time zone adjustable. If not, we'll go through and make sure that is working properly.
Could be at war with my browser's defenses.
Oh, yeah, no, it could possibly be, but I will make sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have another remote question from Matt Petach. If we have multiple rooms tracks, can we please have multiple webcam streams? It kind of sucks to be isolated from a portion of the program.
We have heard the community on that loud and clear, and the board is exploring that option, and we're going to see what we can do to make sure that happens for our community. Any other questions? If not, thank you all very much and enjoy the rest of the conference.